All right, well, let's move into the discussion part of the show here, where we're going to talk about pre-shows and what we think about them. The best ones, the worst ones, what we think about them. Just give our thoughts on it.
Yeah, I figure we should probably list which ones have pre-shows and kind of like what we consider a pre-show is, because that could be kind of confusing.
Well, I think a pre-show would be something that extends the story while you're waiting a bit or adds something to the ride versus just waiting, like Mad Teapot Teapot ride there. That's not a pre-show. You're just waiting in a line.
Right. There's no pre-show for that.
So it's something that adds I would say theming or some storytelling element to the attraction. At least to me, that's what I would say a pre-show is.
Okay. It not necessarily means that you have to enter a different room to watch this pre-show, but most of these do that.
Well, and that's the thing. Most new attractions do this. The queues are very well themed. They're helping build up either, tidbits of a story or, giving you something while you're waiting instead of just staring at the person's, back of their head in front of you.
Right. So for Magic Kingdom, you just want to list them off and then we'll go back and talk about each one as we talk, or how do you want to do this?
I don't know. It's up to you. I guess we could list them up. We could just talk about them as we go. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, I guess let's just list ones at each park and we can kind of talk about it a little bit. But okay, Magic Kingdom. First off, Haunted Mansion. This has got to be the most known pre-show. Maybe like the stretching room. That's pretty iconic.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the most iconic one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really, if you think about it, they were doing this well before this was like a thing to do in rides.
In the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that at the time period they did it to now is pretty timeless in that way.
Yeah. There's Enchanted Tales with Belle, which before you enter the room where they assign all the roles and everything, they have that little room area. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's that's the part where the mirror becomes a doorway.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's a cool effect.
I about that one. Enchanted Tiki Room. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, it's okay. I haven't done that show in a long time, but I'm just I don't really remember it much because it looks similar to the real room, It's
I mean, for the time period it was built in things, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. And then I was thinking about Tron. So when you go into Tron and you enter that room, it has the basically the blue all over, and then the blue fades, and then you see it's like glass, and you can see the ride vehicles and stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool pre-show.
It doesn't really tell a story though. It's just more or less just sort of like a visual effect. But yeah. It's a cool thing in there.
Yeah, that's true. So at Epcot, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which I feel like there's 17 pre-shows in this one. There's the first room you enter to wait. And then the second one where they talk about the Novacor and Xandar and everything.
If I'm being honest, I don't like the Guardians pre-show. It's too long. Okay. That giant room that then funnels you into the other room. I'm not the vibes of it are fine. There's certain aspects of it, but I just don't enjoy that one. I think it's just there's too much of it. Like, there's too much going into a room, looking at a screen, going into a room, looking at a screen, going into a room.
So you could live without that one.
Yes, I would like a more simplified pre-show.
Okay, it is a long. I mean, I agree. The pre-show, it's a lot, especially if you've already done the ride. You're like, okay, well, I could skip those, but the pre-show, I don't know how long it lasts, like 10 minutes.
Well, it depends. 10 to 15 at least.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you consider this a pre-show, but would you consider Soarin'?
I mean, it's got Patrick Warburton, which you get to listen to. It is a pre-show. It's a very basic pre-show, but again, it's very much like you're in an airport terminal, so I guess you could just say it is decently themed to that. I wouldn't say it's anything that it's not adding to it really too much. I mean, the video explainer it kind of lets you know about what's going on, but I don't think it really adds to the attraction. It's a pretty bland queue, really. It's pretty boring. So in that way, if it is a pre-show, it's one of the worst ones just because there's nothing. I mean, they have the trivia thing, but I actually get annoyed with trivia when I'm in lines. I don't want to do that necessarily. This is me personally speaking.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, that's all that is on Epcot side. Well, there is one.
Yeah, Frozen Ever After.
Is that a pre-show?
I think it's a pre.
Is that a pre-show?
I don't think it's a pre-show, but it is a very well themed queue.
Right.
That I think.
Well, we're not talking about cues. We're talking about pre-shows.
But okay. What technically? So the pre-show, I do think the queue in Frozen Ever After does build the story a bit. It immerses you a bit into
that's a great cue then. But it's technically not a pre-show.
Well, there's the guy in the sauna.
Also not a pre-show. It's just an element of the queue, basically.
Well, all of these are just elements of the queue.
Well, the pre-show will give you information you need to understand the ride. And it's usually done through a video or someone speaking to you. This doesn't do that in Frozen Ever After.
Speaks to me.
Okay. There's also Mission Space, which I know Jared's bitter about that one. And
well, it used to be for a terrible ride. It used to have a great pre-show because you had Gary Sinise.
That's right.
And as we all know, if you don't take Gary Sinise with you to space, bad things happen.
It's true. It's true.
That's the bottom line. I felt like Stone Cold. That's the bottom line.
Wow.
It's I mean, it's I don't know if I'd say it's a pre-show. It's an okay themed queue. Yeah, it's very basic though. It's not like you're walking out onto a walkway to get into your shuttle.
I mean,
I still don't understand why they changed that. There was no reason to change it.
I don't know.
At all. And they're like, oh, we have a new pre-show with these new people. I'm like, why?
What happened?
Like you had Gary Sinise, and then you're like, we don't need him. Like,
well, they remember they revamped the difficulty and of the intensity of the rides and stuff, and they did it then.
It still baffles me. Whoever made that decision, I would just like to have a conversation with. And by conversation, I mean highly heated.
Wow.
Not really highly heated. Just strongly opinionated on my end of things.
Gotcha. Okay, over at Hollywood Studios, we have, I think the most, Tower of Terror. You've never done this one.
I've been in the queue.
Okay.
It is very well themed. It's a good pre-show.
That one's good. That one gets you ready for the ride. It shows you exactly why you're on the ride, what's basically going to happen, and just it's scary. It's scary, especially if you're a child, which is when I did it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of influence there.
I'll let you know, elevator maintenance is very important in a hotel.
It's true. Rock and Roller Coaster. You know, you got to get to the concert.
I've always wanted to go to an Aerosmith concert.
Got to get in your limo. Yeah, that one's pretty popular. Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. This one is definitely a pre-show. I'm talking about the part where you enter the room and Rey comes on a hologram and there's BB-8 and then all that. So that's the pre-show.
Well, technically, when you're getting onto the ship and you're taken hostage, like that's all part of the pre-show.
I know.
So
it's a giant pre-show.
I think it probably is the most immersive pre-show in that way because there's so many different elements of it, and so yeah, like even though you're waiting in line to actually ride the attraction, you're still experiencing things, and it definitely immerses you into it.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to be immersed into the sequel trilogy, it does immerse you into that, personally speaking. But yeah, I think that one is. And again, you have the First Order people that are, interrogating you. Like it has a lot of stuff to it that is very unique. And I think we'll probably talk about the end. I think it probably is the most well done pre-show.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think it's hard to beat that one in terms of like the immersion and the level of detail and stuff.
Now, Smuggler's Run, though, that's one that I have. I've only done this ride once because it makes me sick as a dog. But I know that there is a pre-show with the guy. I don't remember his name.
Hondo.
Okay. So I know he's talking about everything.
Because everybody knows Hondo.
I don't know Hondo.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
That most people don't know who Hondo is, yet they put him in here front and center. It'd make
you.
more sense if you had Han Solo up there. But anyways.
Okay.
This one, it's pretty good. It's pre-show wise, it's nowhere near Rise of the Resistance, but it's you do get to be in the Millennium Falcon. Mm-hmm. So you see some aspects of that and like walking through the hallway. So in terms of immersion, it's okay. It's not bad. Like I do like it for that. So it's up there for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anywhere close to Rise in terms of.
And you use the animatronic, which is kind of cool instead of just a video.
Where? Oh, he does. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, when he's working correctly, he is an animatronic. That's true.
Oh.
I think sometimes they have a video when he's not working correctly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Muppet Vision 3D technically has a pre-show.
I mean, it does. It's definitely more
waiting.
just sitting in a queue while a video plays. I mean, I like it, but
I mean, they do the videos that play though kind of describe what's going on. So I mean, it's just an older way of doing it. Basically, remember like all the shows they would have like videos playing beforehand. Even Frozen Sing Along has that, but it's not really a pre-show. So I don't know.
I mean, you got people waiting. You might as well let them watch something.
That's true. Over at Animal Kingdom, you have Dinosaur. You got that. You honestly, that one you really need to pay attention to. Be like, what are we doing? Why are we going back to the dinosaurs? Because if you just did the ride, you'd be like, what are we doing? I think like the pre-show actually explains it really well, exactly what's happening.
Yeah, but you're about to go in the dark and be jostled around a lot, like, and then a dinosaur is going to yell at you.
Exactly. It's like, here's your time rover. We're going to get this dinosaur, but things will go wrong, basically. So it sets you up great. It very much reminds me kind of a Universal ride.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely got like, problem.
Yeah.
Solve the problem, deal with the issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, it's very basic storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is what a ride's supposed to be.
It's true. And then Avatar Flight of Passage would be the other one. Another really long pre-show thing.
This is the same thing I have with Guardians. I could do with one or the other of the pre-show things, but it's like you go in there and then you got the guy like, fly. Like he's just supposed to be playing a nerd. And I'm like, you're not really, you can tell. But then you go into the next room and you line up again. It's just too much lining up and getting into other rooms. I like one room or one thing, and then you go into the next thing and, get on that. That I personally, unless you're going to do like Rise, where you're going to be like, you're going on a ship, and then we're going to do this, and you're taking over, and you got actors involved, and they're like, you're taking hostage. Like, again, that's very unique, but just in terms of like shuffling you from room to room.
Yeah.
I think one room I'm okay with.
One room's good.
And like they do have the aspects in the queue of like the Avatar and that tank when it is in there.
Yes.
So it is an immersive queue along with the pre-show. I just think the pre-show is a little too drawn out.
Yeah, it's drawn out for real. Yep. And I wish like if you did after hours events, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but most of the time they make you go through the entire attraction and the pre-show.
Yeah.
And I was like, why?
I think that's pretty
If you're doing after hours.
I feel like you should be able to, like, if it's an after hours event, you should be able to say, I don't want it. Like, you should be able to bypass it if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want it, that's fine. It's there, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
It probably has to do because it's all one, like, performance or show, whatever. So you all have to get in and get ready. So they don't want to, like, skip the pre-show part because then it makes the timing go off or something. It's probably something to do with that.
Listen, I'm not here for excuses. I'm here for solutions.
All right. Well, all right, Jared. Okay, so give me 3 of the pre-shows that you could just do without. You're like, I hate these. Or I just don't like them.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, you don't like that one.
I mean, not that there's some aspects that are okay, but for the most part, it's too drawn out. And that I don't like how, again, you go in that giant room and you shuffle into this thing. It's just that one I could do without.
Yeah.
I mean, Mission Space is on my bad side.
Obviously, yeah.
I got rid of Gary Sinise, and it's a terrible ride. So there's really no reason to ride this ride.
True.
It's like our daughter said. She wrote it. We used to ride together, and she goes, "This is like a kiddie or a bad version of Soarin'." I'm like, "Yes, it is, honey. Yes, it is."
What's the third one you don't like?
Well, did you mention Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway?
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, the little short that you see at the beginning.
Yeah,
that one's cute. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
It's very simple, but I like it.
Yeah.
So,
but what's another one that you don't like?
I'm tempted to say Flight of Passage.
Okay.
Well, nope, Soarin'. I don't like Soarin's.
Okay.
Soarin's is boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
I don't like any. Yeah, the only thing I like about it is Patrick Warburton, which is like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Everything else is like I'm reminded of being in an airport, and I'm like, wow, this is terrible, just like an airport. What a great time I'm having waiting to be filed into a thing.
True.
So I could definitely I feel like that could be something a bit like more of a, I don't know what you could do with it. But you could do anything with it other than standing in a hallway with carpeted walls and nothing to listen to or look at.
Yeah, I would agree with you on Soarin' and Mission Space. And then Flight of Passage just because it takes so much time and it's, I don't know, repetitive. And like there's nothing really awesome about it. Like once you've done it once, you're like, okay, I could live without it.
I think it's also the guy's acting in Flight of Passage that just annoys me. Like he's playing this, he's just trying to explain it to you, but he's like, I'm an uber geek scientist nerd. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. What's your top 3 favorite then? Because I know which one is I know my top 3 right off the bat.
Well, I would hope so. Mine, let's see, Rise of the Resistance, I think is the best one.
Yeah.
Hands down. I think Flight of Passage is a good one in many ways. I don't know if I'd put it number 2 though.
Ooh.
Okay, Rise of the Resistance.
Okay.
I mean, Tower of Terror. That one's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't like Tower of Terror, the ride, the theming of it and everything, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
I think those would be my 3. Haunted Mansion gets a lot of points just because they've been doing it since the 60s this way.
That's right.
With the theming and all that stuff and the cast members in there add part of it. So I think that would be my 3.
Okay. So I will agree. I love Tower of Terror. That's my number 1. Absolutely. Every single part of that attraction is so well themed. The pre-show just enhances that, and it serves as like a buffer between having to like wait another area where you go into the service elevators.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love it. It's again, it gives me the scares still as an adult.
Yeah.
So that's my number 1. My 2 is probably Haunted Mansion because it's just legendary.
True.
Legend. And then Rise of the Resistance, yeah, I still like that. I know you don't like the Guardians one because it's too long, but the whole part where you're in the room and then the lights come on, spoiler alert, lights come on and then it's like a completely different thing. Like, it's so cool.
It's a cool effect.
It's so cool.
I just hate that right after that you have to didn't squeeze into a small hallway.
Yeah.
And then you just got to deal with that whole thing.
That's true. But yeah, so I'd probably agree with the top 3 that you put too.
By the way, you missed one listing on Epcot, which is Ratatouille.
What's the pre-show for Ratatouille?
Well, it's got a highly themed. You can argue the queue is a bit of a pre-show. You're going through the restaurant.
I guess.
I wouldn't.
I left that one out.
I wouldn't put it up there, but I do think it's decently themed. But I don't think it's anything great though.
One could say that the queue and pre-show kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes.
Yes, you could say that. By the way, speaking of Tower of Terror, did you see where Ariana Grande apparently was pleading with Disney not to change it?
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw the video. She was just like, please don't do it.
Well, first off, I did a video. I was like, first off, I don't care one bit what celebrities have to say about anything.
Right.
But then I was like, I weirdly found myself agreeing with Ariana Grande, which then gave me like I'm like, did I take crazy pills this morning?
No.
But yeah, she was like basically going on about how she was trying to be nice about it, but basically like she hates the redo they did at Disneyland and was pleading that they don't change the one in Disney World, which I was confused because I'm like, I actually haven't heard anything.
Oh, they're not touching it.
In terms of like
they're not touching
that.
it. Nope.
In terms of changing it. So I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. But I was like, I made a video and I was like, I agree with Ariana Grande.
Yeah. It's like Haunted Mansion. They're never gonna touch it in a bad way.
Don't say never. Don't say never.
I'm just saying. Okay.
More than likely they won't, nor should they. But you never know. Okay. I'm sure people said that about Splash Mountain at some point.
I mean, possibly.
And Frontierland.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your least favorite one?
Oh, my
like the one you hate the most?
Probably, I don't know, probably Mission Space because I just don't like that ride.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's probably my
least Mission
favorite.
Space for lots of reasons.
Yeah. That's been
They should just bring back the one with Gary Sinise. Everyone would just be immediately happier.
All right, let's get a petition going.
I feel, listen, if I'm going to space, I feel safer if Gary Sinise is just in his soothing tones is let me know that it's going to be all right.
That's true. Lieutenant Dan.
Well, I mean, who was he in Apollo 13? Ken Mattingly. He played
Ken Mattingly.
That's by the way, what a cool name.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Mattingly.
Mm-hmm.
I want Gary Sinise talking to me in space, but I just don't. When do you think they get rid of Mission Space? Because I don't feel like that. I think it's almost consensus. Most people just do not like that ride.
I don't know. Is it still busy enough?
I don't think it's that busy.
I don't know. I mean, they opened it in 2007.
And they spent an ungodly amount of money to do it.
$50 million in 2007. Well, it started construction. Let's see. They closed. What did they close? Was it Horizons? Yeah,
yes,
it was
that
Horizons.
Was where Horizons was.
And they didn't start construction on it until 2013. 2003. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or did it open in 2003? I don't know. My memory is failing me. I thought it was open in 2007, but I could be wrong. But still, yeah, pretty expensive for a ride that is not uber popular. I guess not every ride has to be uber popular. Like some cannot be.
Agreed, but it's also not necessarily a great idea to have a ride that's like so intense where most people just don't want to do it either. Like not every ride has to be an e-ticket. Like it doesn't have to be a banger, but
yeah,
something that's a little bit more, especially Epcot. Like you eating a lot in Epcot. Sometimes the last thing you want to do is like, hey, you just went to the World Showcase. Would you like to be thrown into space by going really fast in circles? Like, I'm good. I don't. That doesn't sound like a good time, but
it does not.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for the show.
Okay.